Alright, so number one said, to find the point on a unit circle. So let's pretend this is our unit circle. Again, I don't draw pretty. Its unit circle is on, the P is on quadrant 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we know our Y has to be negative. If X is here, right, since it is a unit circle, we know this is going to be 1. So this is square root of 11 over 6. So we need to solve for Y, right? So we know Y is going to be negative. So whatever we get for Y, um, we just have to make it negative. So we have a squared plus b squared is equal to 1. So we have square root of 11 over 6. That squared plus b squared is equal to 1. So b squared is equal to 1 minus 11 over 36. So that's the same thing as saying 36 over 36 minus 11 over 36. That gives you 25 over 36. Alright, so b squared is equal to 25 over 36. You take the square roots of both sides, and you're left with b is equal to 5 over 6. But since we know it, since it said it's in quadrant 4, we know it has to be negative. So y is equal to negative 5 over 6. Alright, so you gotta remember the unit circle. When it says unit circle, your radius is always going to be just 1. Okay, so you know your radius is 1. So if you have your x or your y, all you do is you square it, and then 1 minus whatever you got squared, it's going to give you the other side squared, and you just take the square root of that. Alright, so the next one, number 2, said point P on the left, so let me just draw it again. I wish this thing had different settings. Well, I'll figure it out later. So point P was over here somewhere, and it said this was 4/5, right? So again, it's on a unit circle. So again, this is 1, right? So this is going to be 1. So we have to solve for this one again. So again, we're going to have 1 minus 4 over 5 squared. It's going to give us our x. So we have 1 minus 16 over 25. And that is just 25 over 25. So that's 9 over 25. That gives our x. So that's 3/5. But since we know is in quadrant 2, we know this has to be negative 3/5. Okay? Since the p was in quadrant 2, you only have x's. You have these x's. Alright. So so now it says find sine of t. Well, you have sine of t. So it'll be from here to there. So sine of t will be, let's see, it should be 4/5. No. Yeah. Hold on. My fault, guys. Alright, so again, we have the unit circle. Oops, it's not writing now. Alright, so we have the unit circle. Come on, piece of shit, right? Alright, so we have the unit circle. So for sine of t, all they want is the y. So they want the height, and the height is just 4/5. Alright, cosine of t, they just want the x. And we said the x was negative 3/5. Okay, the next one they wanted was tangent. Well, tangent is sine over cosine. So we're going to have 4/5 divided by negative 3/5. So again, when you divide it by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. So this 5 cancels out that 5, so you're left with negative 4/3. And the last one was cosecant. Cosecant of t is just 1 over sine of t. So that's 1 over 4/5. So that's just 5/4. All right. So again, since it is a unit circle, you know it's going to be 1. Your height was 4/5. So I mean this is 4/5. So then you just got to use you got to use the quadratic formula. A squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. This time we said a was 4/5 since it gave us the height. So we got to find for b of x. So we got to find b squared, which is our x, and c is always going to be 1. Okay, because we're using the unit circle. Unit circle is just 1. All right. All right. Next up is 3. So we have sine. So we have to use our sum of angles formula. So remember, we have to find two angles that are going to give us 7 pi over 6. So it's the same thing as saying 3 pi over 6 plus 4 pi over 6. Right? 3 plus 4 is 7. The 6 stay the same because that's how you add fractions. So you reduce this down to 3 over 6 is just 1/2, so it's pi half. 4 over 6 is 2/3, so it's 2 pi over 3. Okay? Since we have this, we know when we have two angles, we know sine. So this is one you have to memorize. It was pretty straightforward. So it's sine of alpha times cosine of beta plus sine of beta times cosine of alpha. Alright, it doesn't really matter which one comes first or second. It's all the same thing. So we have to go ahead and find sine. So go ahead and find sine of pi over 2. Multiply that by cosine of 2 pi over 3. So you should have this on your chart. So if if he doesn't let you bring a chart, that should be the first thing you should do. Is write down your chart, your table of values. Okay. So remember how we did that? We did the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Take the square root of all 4 of them, and then all 5 of them, and then divide by 2. Okay. So now after that, you just plug them in. All right. All right. So let's do the other one. So that's for sine. Now for cosine, they asked us to find cosine of 13 pi over 4. Alright, so 13 pi over 4, that's a pretty big number. So that's the same thing as saying 12 pi over 4 plus just pi over 4. Okay? Well, you might be saying, whoa, 12 pi over 4, that's just 3 pi. You're correct. This is 3 pi. You're saying, well, I don't have the value for 3 pi. Well, you don't really need the value for 3 pi. Okay? So if you know, so you have to remember the full period for sine or cosine, it doesn't really matter, is 2 pi. So for sine, so from here to here, it's going to be the same thing, so that's 2 pi. So anything after 2 pi, it's like starting at 0 all over again, right? Just like we did a unit circle. It's all the way around. This is 360 degrees, or just 2 pi. Anything after here, it's like starting at 0 again. So we say angle of 370, instead of going all the way around and then 10 more, it's just the same thing as saying a sine of 10. Okay? So cosine of 3 pi, cosine of 3 pi is the same thing as saying cosine of just pi plus pi over 4. And this one you do have the formula. You do know the value of pi. Okay? So remember, 3 pi is just just subtract 2 pi from it, and it will be the same exact thing. So now the formula for cosine, it will be pi plus pi over 4. So now remember, this is just the cos minus sine. So it'll be cosine of pi times the cosine of pi over 4. Remember, cosine is the one that's different. If you are adding, you have to subtract it. If you're subtracting, then you have to add it. So since we added, we have to subtract. So it's cosine of pi, so minus sine of pi times sine of pi over 4. Okay, so go ahead and just fill those out. You have your chart, and just go ahead and do that. Next one was tangent. Let's switch colors here. It was tangent of negative 5 pi over 3. This is the same thing as saying tangent of, that's what this one I have to cheat. I have to think about it for a little bit. 5 pi over 6 plus negative 5 pi over 6. So you add these two together, you get negative 10 over 6, and this reduces down to negative 5 over 3. Okay? So they're both the same thing, so you should be fine. So I don't know the formula for sine or for tangent. So we're gonna have to just do sine over cosine, right? Remember, tangent is sine over cosine. So we know the formula for sine and we know the formula for cosine. So it's gonna be, let's see, it'll be sine of negative 5 pi over 6 times cosine of 5 pi over 6 minus the difference of it, cosine of 5 pi over 6 times sine of negative 5 pi over 6. And for cosine, honestly, you don't have to do it because you see these two are the same thing. Sine of 5 pi over 6, cosine of 5 pi over 6, same thing as these two. So you know this is going to be the same value as this. So you know this is just going to be 0. Okay. That's pretty simple. Let's look at it. 5 pi over 6. Make sure we're fine. 5 pi over 6. Be that over that. Yeah. Negative 5 pi over 6. Yeah. So it'll be negative 1/2 minus negative 1/2. Yeah. All right. What was it? Sine 1/2 divided by. Oh no, hold on, that's wrong. All right. So I did something wrong. 5 pi over 6. Hold on. All right. All right. So I know what I did wrong. It's supposed to be a plus sign. So it's not minus. It's gonna be plus. So we can get rid of this. So remember for the formula. So for sine, it's sine of alpha cosine beta plus sine beta cosine alpha. So all you're really gonna have to do is just find sine of negative 5 pi over 6 times cosine of 5 pi over 6 multiplied by 2. So you're gonna have to do the same thing here for cosine. So this will be cosine negative 5 pi over 6 cosine negative 5 pi over 6 minus sine of negative 5 over 6 sine negative 5 pi over 6. So you can reduce this down actually. This would be the same thing as saying 2 times sine of negative 5 pi over 6 times cosine of 5 pi over 6. And then this here is essentially just cosine squared. And then this would be minus sine squared. And that won't go anywhere. So we just do cosine of negative 5 pi over 6, that squared, minus sine of negative 5 pi over 6, that thing squared. Alright, so go ahead and plug that into your chart, and that's what you should be able to do for tangent. I know it's a lot of work, but I need you to plug them in, to plug in each of these here to figure it out. Alright, the next one was cosecant. So it's cosecant of 3 pi over 2, and that's just so remember this is just 1 over sine of 3 pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2, we can break up into pi plus pi over 2. So what you're going to be doing is going to be 1 over, so now you have to use your identity again for sine. So it'll be sine pi times cosine pi over 2 plus sine pi over 2 times cosine pi. Okay? So remember, cosecant is 1 over sine. So cosecant of 3 pi over 2 is going to be 1 over sine of 3 pi over 2. And 3 pi over 2 is the same thing as saying pi plus pi over 2. So then you use your summation formula and you get this big old thing here. And that's pretty much it for the first three. Put the other ones in a little bit.